Hey guys, Mansingin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we talked in this video that I put out the other day about some of the community's top picks for the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest. And of course, we will be getting the producer letter video tomorrow, basically 12 hours from now, because this video is going up at 10 PM UK time. So that premiere is going to be live on YouTube in 12 hours from now. I will be live to react to it, so hopefully you guys come out to the stream. We can see all the information live, and then I will make a breakdown news video afterwards for those of you who miss it, because obviously for various time zones in the US, I know EST it's at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. So I will be making a breakdown video that you guys will then obviously be able to check out as soon as you are awake. But for this video today, I wanted to talk about some kind of underrated picks that either weren't mentioned in that thread or just, you know, not many people have brought up that I think could be an interesting option. Now, I should preface straight away, I don't think any of these are going to be the actual New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest, but they're just a couple of picks that I think would be interesting for a variety of reasons, whether because the characters are underrepresented or just because it's something that I think would be super fun. I do still think that GT, like Goku versus Baby or Daima, are probably the most likely due to a few different clues that we've seen, you know, like the Great Ape tracker mechanic thing, and then the new active skill animation definitely leans towards like GT. Obviously there's the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, one of the last 2020 units that needs the EZA, which could be bundled in there. And then of course Daima, with all the stuff releasing on Legends, the fact they've released a bunch of Daima characters, and Dokkan still hasn't done anything other than the free-to-play base Goku and Vegeta, I think those are two very good options. But we're going to jump in and talk about three particular pairings here that I think could be very interesting. And obviously you guys let me know what you think down below. In terms of picks that nobody's really talking about, what would you like to see? Let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, while you're there, do hit that like button on the video. So, going to jump in straight away here with one that I think would be very interesting, that I think people have wanted to see for some time, which is God Vegeta versus Wrathful Broly. Now, God Vegeta has this single standalone card in the game that came out in 2018, end of 2018, beginning of 2019 for Global, and got his EZA during the anniversary for the, 7-year 2022. So this guy immediately received, on release and on EZA, the same kind of meme treatment that we see when we get these dual Goku and Vegeta releases, where God Goku, when he got his EZA, became an absolute beast, and any events that featured a Pure Saiyan or movie boss for like over a year to come, he was like a go-to support unit for that team. Whereas God Vegeta got a comparably very, very bad EZA next to him, which is very unfortunate. And then, of course, this guy right here is the only iteration of Wrathful Broly that we have in the entire game. And they made the weird thing of giving him his EZA, like, straight away. Like, literally, he released on JP. If the wiki is correct here, that's very weird. He got his EZA the next day. And then on Global, just got it at the same time. And, of course, that means that absolutely killed his chance of getting a resurgence, because he'd already gotten an EZA. He's not a Dokkan Fest exclusive or an LR, so as far as we know, until they decide to move on to doing those characters as well, he's not going to get a Super EZA. So this guy's just dead in the water and is the only Wrathful Broly in the entire game. So there's a couple of different options for this. Obviously for Vegeta, he could just have an intro, because there's no other God Vegeta than him, so he's not taking anyone's spot. Or he could be a Super Saiyan Vegeta that then transforms. Obviously one of the things we would love to see him have is that transformation that he has in the movie, where he flies up and then transforms from Super Saiyan into God. So whether that is an intro or that's part of the character's kit with a transformation, either way it would be really good. Honestly, I'd be very happy for him to just straight up be God Vegeta. That's his intro. Maybe give him an active skill where he has like a special attack, or I'm not sure he would particularly get a taunt if we think about the fight with him and Broly, but could still certainly be interesting. He could have the active skill, which is the attack this guy has as his super, where he fires the multiple like pressure blasts of like blasting Broly into the mountain. But this guy, a new God Vegeta, could be really good. And then for Wrathful Broly, again, he could have the same name and it's not really going to matter, because this guy probably will never get a Super EZA, or if he does, it's going to be so long away that this New Year's Wrathful Broly would probably be outdated by then anyway, because it's not like they'd give him a super EZA during this celebration. I mean, never say never, I guess, but if that was going to be the case, then he would have to be like a base Broly that transforms, which realistically in the meta at the moment, we do have the Tech Broly, so they would clash, but it's only really those two, and you always transform Tech Broly straight away on the next turn anyway. So we could easily be a standalone Wrathful Broly, standalone God Vegeta, and they're not taking up any, like, they're not clashing with any other units. The only thing that makes me think that this one is not going to be a crazy pick, now bear in mind, the New Year's banners don't usually have side banner units, which works well for these guys, because realistically, who have you got as options other than, like, maybe a Paragus and then like a Goku or like a Bulma or something, right? So these guys make a good choice because they don't really have prominent go-to banner units, but the banners probably wouldn't have them anyway, so that's fine. The only other problem is who would like EZA, who would be the other like buffs during this celebration, because we've pretty much done all of the Broly movie stuff. I think there's like, what, the physical free-to-play Golden Frieza is like the only Dragon Ball Super Broly movie character in the game that doesn't have an EZA, outside of the 7-year LR gods, obviously. So that's something that I guess would create an issue for making this into the theme of the New Year Festival. However, I guess you could consider, like, with it being movies, we talked about at the beginning with GT, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta being one of the last 2020 units that needs an EZA. Two other 2020 units that need an EZA are AGL Paikon and Tech Janemba, and obviously they are movie related. Like, he is a Movie Heroes character who's a supporting super class. He's a Movie Bosses character that's supporting extreme class. And obviously the two new units would be a super class Movie Heroes character and an extreme Movie Boss character. So these guys would fit the theme for them to get an EZA. They were New Year's characters for 2020 for JP, obviously releasing later on Global. But that would be fitting for these guys in the New Year celebration 4 years later to get their EZA. This guy could obviously be super, super good on a lot of teams. And Paikuhan as well, right? If he gets a good EZA. He's on teams like Saviors, Connected Hope, Storied Figures, Worthy Rivals. A lot of these teams that desperately need buffs. And then obviously Movie Heroes is like the big one. But yeah, this guy could be very, very good with an EZA as well. But Janemba, as long as they do something about the orb requirement for these guys, like these guys could be super, super strong. And they would fit the theme because it's kind of like movies related, right? Now, the other interesting thing tied to Paikuhan, moving on to the second choice that I think would be very interesting for a Dual Dokkan Fest for the New Year celebration, would be Super Kaioken Goku versus Paikuhan. Now, obviously, if they did do this and then they EZA'd AGL Paikuhan and Janemba, it would be kind of awkward because we'd be getting a new Paikuhan and then an EZA Paikuhan. They have the same name. The way that they'd have to make that work, and obviously with some of the questionable choices that Dokkan has made recently, who knows, you just have to make the new Paikuhan a really, really good slot 1 unit. And then obviously the AGL Paikuhan could then just fulfill that role of being like a floating support unit, and it doesn't matter that he has the same name. The other problem with that, of course, is if they do a new Super Kaioken Goku versus Paikuhan like pairing, then realistically we would want these two units to get their EZAs as well. So I wonder if that would push the Paikuhan and Janemba off the table, because otherwise we would essentially, if we're including the EZAs, be getting 3 new Paikuhans in the same celebration, and they all have the same name as well. So that would obviously be super awkward. But this fight is cool. It's obviously filler only, but the Super Saiyan Kaioken like looks really cool. Seeing a new version of this character, even potentially with like a Dokkan original animation or something, would be super awesome. Because like this guy getting an EZA would be cool, but he's such an old unit now that like you go back and watch his super attack animation, it's pretty dated and bad. So him getting an EZA, like it'd be fun to run him on teams again, but unfortunately it sucks when these older units get EZAs and they become runnable for a certain amount of time, but they just have really horrible super attack animations. And then this Paikuhan, like his is okay, the Thunder Flash. He's not really doing a lot. Remember that the JP and global versions are different for these guys as well. So that'll be very interesting when it comes to doing their EZAs, what they end up looking like once they're done. Maybe because of that issue, they just don't touch these guys and we get a new Super Kaioken Goku and Paikuhan, and then we just get the Paikuhan and Janemba EZA. Because even though Janemba isn't really connected to that at all, He's not on Otherworld Warriors, the category, but obviously that movie and his whole fight takes place in the Otherworld. So Paikuhan fits the theme because it's another Paikuhan and he is an Otherworld Warrior. And then Janemba just kind of fits because he's still part of that Otherworld like situation, even though he's not on the category. And he ties directly to the AGL Paikuhan. So they could still drop these two Easy A's as part of that celebration, have a new Super Kaioken Goku and Paikuhan. This guy could be really good because you think about like some of the top teams we have now for things like Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Final Trump Card, Full Power, like Kamehameha. It's a uniquely named Goku, so he's not clashing with anyone else on the team. He's got a really good link set, other than Otherworld Warriors for those teams, but obviously useful in some places, I guess. But yeah, this guy could be really, really good. A new version of him and a new Paikuhan can always be fun, especially, like I say, if they make him a really good slot 1 tank, and then this guy gets an Easy A to make him a super good support unit. That situation could obviously be very, very good, and would certainly be an interesting setup. And then finally, when it comes to the 3 picks that I really wanted to talk about, all of these are ones that I just think would be really cool if they did happen, but obviously I don't think that they will necessarily. But the one that is a top pick for me, you guys know I've talked about it a bunch on streams and stuff before, would be I guess it would technically be another Xenoverse crossover. I don't know if they would advertise it as that, I guess, but would be Bardock versus Mira. This is one of the final fights from like Xenoverse 2. Obviously Bardock starts off in base, like breaks out of the Master Saiyan Timebreaker Master Control, and as you do the fight he transforms all the way up to Super Saiyan 3 and you fight against Mira. The interesting thing about this is he could start off as any form and be transforming. Like, we're going to get, I guess, the LR Awakening for that free-to-play Super Saiyan Bardock, so we probably don't want him to be a Super Saiyan Bardock. He could just start off as 3, that would be fine, or maybe be 2 that transforms to 3, or Master Saiyan that transforms to 3, either way, so he has a unique name. And then obviously fighting Mira. Mira doesn't necessarily need to have a transformation like this guy, although I believe that does happen in that fight, I think. Actually, I'm not sure if it does in the one against Bardock, but either way. And then, of course, that opens the door for this guy and all of the other Xenoverse characters that we're waiting for to get an Easy A. And whilst this obviously seems like a massive amount of cope, you have to remember that they did mention on the banner for the Heroes Easy, I think it was the Easy A banner, they mentioned that characters would be returning in a upcoming crossover banner, which led a lot of people to think that either the December Dokkan Fest or December Carnival was going to be a crossover character, and then it wasn't. So if the characters for the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fests were crossover characters, then the featured units on their banner could be other crossover Dokkan Fests, and then some of the either Heroes Easy A characters, or they could be in the general pool of units. I'm not really sure how they would do it, but they did mention that that was going to be happening again in the future. And obviously we have like the Tech, Toa, the Int Demigra, and the Physical Mirror, and then of course the like physical Xeno Trunks, the AGL Super Saiyan Xeno Trunks, these old Xenoverse units that we're still waiting to get Easy A's. And then of course we talked about in the past a bunch of these other crossover characters, all these random like Super Saiyan 3 Vegetas, like the GT one, the physical normal one. Like these guys are all crossover units that need to get their Easy A's, and that could be part of the New Year celebration if it is a crossover themed Dual Dokkan Fest. Because we've gotten crossover Dokkan Fests before. I mean, 21 obviously is one who came out last year, but even when they originally released like Super Saiyan 3 Broly, the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock himself, and of course Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, these guys are Dokkan Fest exclusive TURs that are crossover characters. So it is something that they have done before. Unfortunately, it's too late for this guy to be good again, or like on that new team, and he won't be getting a Super Easy A for a long, long time. So even if the new unit is just straight up Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, he doesn't, like this guy's not exactly getting replaced because we don't use him at all. One thing that I would like to see is, as I've talked about on streams before, you guys know, is if he has some kind of transformation, if he's transforming to Super Saiyan 3, he creates the domain of like the place where they fight. It's like the time broken dimension with like the crystal background. It's kind of similar to the Broly movie one, but slightly different. If you've played Xenoverse 2, you know. But yeah, this guy, we don't have a lot of super class characters that have domains. So this guy, especially considering his whole deal in that fight of transforming up between all the different forms, if that domain buffed like Power Beyond Super Saiyan allies or something, then this guy could end up being one of the better like picks for some of these really top tier superclass teams, because he'll end up buffing all of those units. And then obviously Mira, unfortunately he isn't on demonic power, but he is on uncontrollable power. I think that is just because of the transformation. I'm not sure if the does this guy get it, the SSR version? Yeah, he doesn't have it, because obviously he doesn't have the full power Mira form. So this guy, he would have to transform in order to get the uncontrollable power category. But that is, of course, another very currently strong team in the meta. So I guess ideally he would be a transforming Mira, and then have the uncontrollable power category. I mean, the thing is, if he's a transforming Mira and this guy gets an easy A, then obviously they would clash before they transform. But then even if they're both transforming into the same name form, they would then still be able to link, because they're both transformed characters. But yeah, Bardock versus Mira I think would be super cool, just as like a very random crossover dual Dokkan Fest. But like I said, even though it might be complete cope, because it's something that I really want to see, they did say that we're going to be getting some sort of new, like some sort of upcoming crossover thing. And as yet that has not materialized. So I don't think there's a 0% chance. When it comes to Dokkan, I don't think there's a 0% chance of pretty much anything. But I guess out of these three, I think maybe the most likely would be the God Vegeta and Wrathful Broly, because I like the fact that with the movie tie-in, we get these guys easy A's. Because not only is it the movie tie-in, but literally the two units are a movie boss character and a movie heroes character. This one I think would be really fun, but I don't think is necessarily super likely. And then obviously this one is just my personal top pick, but is probably not very likely. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If we take GT and Daima off the table as the two most popular or most likely picks, what dual Dokkan Fest, like what character pairing would you guys like to see as the New Year Dual Dokkan Festival? Let me know. And then obviously, like I say, I will be live for the producer letter where they reveal what the units actually are. We can talk about some of those comments and stuff on the stream while we wait. But do let me know down below in the comment section what you would like to see if you could pick one of these less common, less popular options. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.